in this class, we'll discuss about what do you mean by the participle and the gerund. So let us dive into this topic. Here, the topic participle and gerund has a special importance in case of especially any competition exam point of view. Why is that? Because most of the students generally they confuse with the details of the participle, gerund, and infinitive. So infinitive topic is somewhat very easy to find. So here a simple example here. Simple example, that is the difference between the gerund, participle, and infinitive. So very easy to find. But when you are putting into practice, when you are trying to solve some problems in a case of examination, generally people what they do is they make some mistakes in identifying whether it is a gerund or whether it is a participle or like that. Okay, so the basic difference between gerund, participle, and infinitive is the infinitive is very easy to identify. First point. Okay, so that's the reason why what I'm trying to do is, so infinitive we will be discussing in a separate session. But whereas here, the basic difference generally you will face a hurdle is gerund and the participle. So that we will be discussing here. Okay. Now coming to the definition point of view, we call this gerund, participle, and infinitive. So these three items in English grammar we call as a verbals. Okay. So these verbals are the words. Look at the definition, are the words that derive from the verbs as a function of noun, or adjectives or adverbs. So basically what they do, what is their function is they have this function, that is they can be used as a noun. First point, they can be used as an adjective. Second point, and also they can be used as a adverbs. So these verbals, what are the verbals? Gerund, participle, and infinitive. So these three things can be used as they are basically the verbs. Okay, they are basically the verbs. So verb is basically trying to be as a noun, trying to act like an adjective, trying to act like a adverb. So that's a very simple way to understand. Simple definition, easy to remember. Okay, so verb is basically what? It's an action, possession, or state, right? So now occurrence or a state, right? So what is the meaning of a verb? Normally the definition, it's an action, or you can say it's a state, action or a state. Okay, so or it's an object, so in a position. Okay, so just try to understand with the simple definition, don't go too much of it. Okay, you can call it as an occurrence, okay, and occurrence also. Okay, so these three things. Okay, what is basically a verb? Verb is basically an action, state, or an occurrence. So here, keeping this point in mind, so this is basically what? It's basically the function of a noun, right? So this actually becomes a they can be converted as a noun. Okay, the basic function itself can be converted into a noun, or it can be converted into an adjective, or it can be converted into an adverbs. So adverb is a word which qualifies the verb, right? So we will discuss that in a coming up class. Right now you just try to understand here a simple logic here, that is verb is basically converted into noun, is all these things. Okay, why it can be converted and what is the reason? Okay, sometimes what happens is there are some certain set of expressions, so they need the action itself will become like a subject. So that's the time generally we use this one. Okay, so where is this concepts are used? Gerund, participle, and infinitives. Here in this video we are going to confine ourselves to limit ourselves to gerund and participles. So the first one here, that is a gerund. So what do you mean by a gerund? Whenever, or we can call it as a gerund that takes the ing form to the verb. So what is the ing form to the verb? Like we have already seen one example here. So let me write that example. One example here. Okay, verb 1. So that is a I am going to take a irregular verb. Okay, go. For this V2 form will become went. Then for this V3 form is gone. Okay, so let us take one regular verb, something like love. 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 Okay, so this is the form. So here for this form, if you look at this, we have something like a verb numbers here, which we can say, you can have a look at the numbers. Yeah, here something V plus ing, V3. Yeah, you can use V3. Yeah. Okay. So I'll take this into like this, right? Is V4 is basically the verb plus ing form. So verb plus ing form is go ing. So I am going to add this one. So G4 go plus ing. Okay. So V plus ing. So basically the rule is if we add verb plus ing, V1 plus ing, this becomes V4. That is normally, don't worry about what is V1, V4, that you don't worry about it. So you understand that actually, so for a verb, take a root verb. Okay, this is base verb. This is a present, past participle. Okay, then there is one more picture, that is V5. So this takes for a goes. So this is a for singular third person or third person singular. Third person singular, just for understanding purposes, just keep it. Okay, so that's a very simple way to remember. So so you can take any word now. So for trying to understand this definition here. So here the example here we have taken is swimming. Okay, so for swimming, what will come? Swim comes from. Okay, so anyway, okay, that just right now we'll try to understand the same example here, whatever the example that is there here. Okay, so swimming is good for health. Okay, what we have taken? We have taken the base root verb. Okay, that root verb is swim. So for this verb, what we have done is we have added ing. So this became V4, the verb 4, okay, which is called as a gerund. So this is called as a gerund. Okay, so for a gerund, what you are doing is take the root verb and then add ing. Then this becomes a gerund. So when it becomes a gerund, this gerund basically, this verb plus ing, they act like a noun. They act like a noun. So that's the meaning of this one. Okay, so here, look at here, swimming is good for health. So dash is good for health. Anything is, so we take any verb and then it's good for health. Okay, so you can write like this as swimming, you can write this playing, you can write like this riding. So like this, you can use any set of the words. Okay, so all these things becomes a subject. So take any verb. So instead of this, I can write like this: loving is good for health. It does not change any meaning. So now loving has become a subject now. Swimming has become a subject now. Eating has become a subject now. Playing has become a subject now. Likewise, you can try all the examples. So all these examples convey the same meaning, which is called as a. So now here it becomes, so in the very first example, this gerund is acting like a subject. Look at the second examples. I enjoy reading. So I is a subject. Enjoy is the verb. So reading is an object. Yeah, okay, we have already. So reading is an object. Okay, now you can convey this same thing, that we are going to take a verb plus ing. So this now becomes an object. So what you can do is you can replace that. I enjoy listening, I enjoy singing, I enjoy playing. So likewise, you can try some examples of all these things. So everything conveys same meaning. So what is the basic meaning is, you have to take a verb and then add ing at the end. So that can be acted like a subject or an object. So this is the first thing here. Okay. So then one more example is also there. One more model is also there in case of a gerunds. That is, whenever you want to convey with the preposition, like object of a preposition, so that time also you can use this ing format. Okay. Take a verb, add ing at the end. So if you have any preposition in between, if you have a preposition and you want to convey the preposition, okay, so preposition is basically is a conjunction, is a mixing, is a connection between, bridge between two words, word 1 and word 2, right? Okay, so this is the preposition. So you want to connect that between two words. Okay, so preposition generally helps us, right? So that, so you look at here, she is fond dance, she is fond dash, okay, fond dance. Okay, so I want to convey between these two, right? I want to connect the fonding and also I want to connect the dancing. So that I have used a preposition. So now because of the preposition has come into picture, so I'm going to take that respective base verb. Both are verbs, right? So dancing is also a verb, so fonding is also a verb. So that what is, so fond means, so that's the reason why what I'm trying to do is, so here I'm trying to join these two by adding this verb plus ing. So in front of any preposition also this can come. This is one example. Okay, just a simple example. So this gives us the complete, or we can say a simple or easy understanding of a gerund, meaning of a, what you mean, meaning of a gerund, right? Now when it comes to participles, so the participles are not these kinds. Okay, the participles are not only one kind. So you have present participle, you have past participle, and also you have a perfect participle. So that is also there. So that we will be discussing. And so if you look at the in depth of this, or we can call it as a, so what are the varieties of the gerund, where generally you occur and where to use. So for examination point of view, how to identify. So if you look at that point of view, what we can do is look at here, that is as the subject of a sentence, we can use this one as a subject of a sentence. The first point is as a subject of a sentence. So what do you mean by as a subject of a sentence is here, whenever you wanted to make the subject itself is like the verb look like a subject itself. So for that reason you can use like this gerund here. Running is my hobby, playing is my hobby, play, so I want to play. Okay, so playing is my hobby. Then reading is my hobby, reading novels relaxes me, reading is good. Write any sentence, no issues here. Okay, so here when you look at the sentence here, the verb has a ing form. So because of this ing form, this verb itself act like a subject. So remember that always subject is a noun. Okay, so the subject is basically always it becomes a noun, but we don't have a subject here, because here if we use the word play is my hobby, if you use like this, okay, grammatically this is incorrect. Why this is incorrect is, grammatically incorrect is, Here play is a verb, is a verb. Okay, so this because of hobby is now becomes a subject object. Okay, so here this format generally will not work out. Okay, because in any sentence, to have a meaningful sentence, you need to have subject, verb plus object. Okay, if the object is not there, then subject, verb. So this verb is a intransitive. Okay, and the object itself is basically conveys the subject. Okay, so because of this, what will happen? Because of intransitive verb, this go. Okay, so don't worry about too much technical details here, but try to understand that. So this is the meaning here. First point. Now, as an object of a verb, as an object of a verb. So in that case also we can use this gerunds. Here the object, in the sense, as we said, so to have a perfect good meaning, you need to have subject, verb, object. Okay, so if you want to fill the object position, that time also you can use this gerunds. So how to use this gerunds is, take the verb, root verb, and then add ing, then this becomes a object. I enjoy cooking. So here, as I said, so I is a subject, enjoy is a verb. Now this cook is also a verb, but you are adding ing, so that's why this becomes a noun now. This is acting like a noun. Because it's a noun, so now this becomes an object. So that's one kind. Okay, one variety. She dislikes waiting. Like this. Okay, so these are one variety. So simple variety. So with a simple example, try to understand the what is the uses here. Okay, with very simple example, you just first you try with simple examples, then you can go for practicing examination question papers. Now the next one is as an object of a preposition. As an object of preposition, he is good at drawing, she is interested in learning French, so something like, okay, so he is good at drawing. Here at is a preposition, so for that you are going to add a verb plus ing, so this becomes a object. So what this object is now, the preposition is basically conveying to the object. The preposition is trying to connect to the object. Okay, so she is interested in learning. In is a preposition. Okay, in is, so then there are some certain set of things, like after certain set of verbs, then also what we can say is after certain verbs. So whenever the verb is followed by gerund, okay, which is not an infinitive, like example, enjoy, mind, suggest, avoid, finish, consider, keep, admit, these are examples. Okay, risk, deny, postpone, practice, then etc. So like this one, so you must compulsorily have to use the gerunds for these words. Why is that? Because they are standardly everybody are using that. And then it's not like there is no specific rule for that, but the main basic reason is so the people are accustomed to this set of rules, and then they are using it as such. And then if you are actually trying to reinvent it, so it becomes like a vague. Okay, so for example, look at here, she enjoys reading. So we have common tendency, she enjoys to read. So this is basically incorrect. She enjoys reading is the right one. So like this some examples I would like to show you like this. Yeah, some examples. So where avoid, for avoid, he avoids talking. Enjoy, I enjoy singing. Then look at here. So finish, she finished reading, writing. Consider, we considered moving. Suggest, he suggested going. So this is basically like a collocative words. We can call like a collocation. Okay, so if it is avoids, then compulsorily, if there is a verb avoid, then compulsorily this verb plus ing. So for enjoy, use this, the next verb. If this is a verb, then use this another verb plus ing. So please mind about these words, verb plus ing. Okay, consider plus ing. Okay, so suggest verb plus ing. So these are some small examples, very simple examples. Okay, so keeping this point in mind, now for this model, after these words. Okay, so I would like to list it again: enjoy, mind, suggest, avoid, finish, consider, keep, admit, deny, risk, postpone, practice, etc. At least minimum these words you just try on your own. Try to do that. Now the next one is after certain expressions. After certain expressions, like it is no use crying, can't help laughing, like this. Okay, so it is no use is a one sentence here. Then we are using it verb plus ing. It is no use crying, it is no use laughing, it is no use playing, it is no use running. So like can't help laughing, this sentence also. Okay, also kind of same way. Then look forward meeting you. So this is one example. These two examples are very good examples, you can remember. Then sometimes the gerund also act like a compound noun. Why that compound noun? That is, look at here some examples. Walking stick. Here the verb is walk plus ing. Okay, and you have something called as an extra noun. Okay, so verb plus ing is already noun. Okay, noun one. Then you are using another noun two. Okay, so this noun one and noun two, this becomes like a singular noun. Okay, so this now acting like a unit, noun one and noun two, that together will give you a complete meaning here. Like example, walking stick, swimming pool, then driving license, then wedding planner, wedding plan. Like this, you try some examples, some examples. Okay, so that we should. Then so that's where actually the gerund ends. Now let us dive into this participle. So basically the participle are three kinds. So before going to understand this participle, how many kinds and all, let us first try to understand what is the basic definition. So this basic definition is a participle is a form of a verb that functions as an adjective, this one. Okay, it functions like an adjective, first one point. Then also it describes a noun or pronoun. So both are same, so we can write the second quantity, two quantities. Okay, what is a participle? A participle is a one form of a verb which functions, it actually functions like as an adjective. Also it describes a noun. So what is the description of a noun? Something you are going to say something about it, so it's an adjective. Okay, so there is no any meaning here. So it's basically they are not two different kinds. Okay, whether it describes, whether it acts like an adjective, the adjective meaning itself is the description of a noun. Okay, so they are not two different kinds, so we can remove this. Okay, it's basically convey the same meaning. Okay, now how many types are there? There are basically two types, and there is a extra one kind that is called as a perfect participle, but we'll look at that. So present participle, past participle, and perfect participle. So that we'll look at one by one here, so that we'll be able to catch the points. So when it is used as a present participle, then generally what we do is here, how it acts. When it acts like an adjective, that's one point. Okay, and when it acts like a part of a continuous tense, that's one point. Then when it acts like a adverbial modifier, like for example, so adverb means which describes a verb. Okay, so adverb basically we'll discuss adverbs in depth, but adverb meaning is just as a simple definition. Adverb is a word which qualifies a verb. Okay, that's simple definition. Then yeah, okay. So in present participle itself we have three varieties. Okay, so when it acts like a adjective, then part of a continuous tense, and also as a adverb modifiers. Now don't worry about a lot of this. See, when we are dealing this videos, in the video you will be fleshing out with a lot of different names which might have been unknown. So that is not an important thing. Okay, so and also I'll be writing something like a rules and regulations, something like a formula, something like that. So that is also unimportant. So only the reason what you should do is you should practice this English as much as possible to get familiar with the rules and regulations. Okay, so that's the main crux of the thing for examination. Here coming to the point here, adjective. Yeah, we'll go for adjective. So look at here. When this the baby needs attention, the baby needs attention. Here instead of that I'm writing here the crying baby. Cry plus ing, okay, the verb plus ing needs attention. So what happened is, now this crying is now this verb plus ing in case of this present participle are acting like an adverb. So what do you mean by adverb is? Adverb is basically comes in front of a noun. So noun is basically without the adverb also you can say. Okay, so for example here, look at the example here, the baby needs food. It also gives the same meaning. Okay, the baby needs food. This is also a proper sentence, complete sentence. Okay, there is no any problem with this sentence. But when you say use this adverb for a noun, then what happens is it gives the sentence actually will give some enhancement. Okay, some flavor to it. Okay, so for example here, the crying baby, the laughing baby, the laughing baby needs food. Okay, or so there is no any right or wrong sentence here. Okay, but only the feelings generally you will not be having. Okay, the laughing baby needs toys. No change. Okay, so even now they convey the same meaning. Okay, so same grammar. No, there is no any grammatical mistake here. So laughing baby needs toys, the crying baby needs food, so the crying baby needs attention. So whatever it is there. Okay, so the noun it is there here. For a noun you are going to take a verb plus ing, then what happens is this will act like an adverb. So that will give us is called, so this process is called as a present participle. Okay, then sometimes as a part of continuous tense. Okay, so when the tense is in a continuous form, then also you can use this one. Okay, she is cooking dinner. So take the verb and then add ing. So this convey the continuous tense. Continuous tense. So this is one form. Then sometimes this adverbial modifiers. So what do you mean by adverbial modifiers is so when you want to show something like want to say what is the time, then what is the cause, then what is the result, some condition. Okay, so like this remember that adverb is basically a which qualifies a verb, or which gives enhancement to a verb, but even that actually has some rules. So you cannot use time first like this and all, so cause first and all. This is basically, they have some rules and regulations here. Okay, but here what we are confining ourselves is, because we are going to take only one adverb, so that's why we are going to take, we have no problem here. Hearing the noise, he ran out. So what is this meaning? Hear plus ing, the noise is a verb, is a noun. Okay, so noise is a noun. Okay, so what happened now? They are showing that what is the cause. Hearing the noise, he ran out. So this becomes a noun. So what that he ran out. So they are actually giving us what happened before that situation. So what happened before that? So happened in the sense time. It comes under time. Okay. So knowing the truth, he smiled. So knowing the truth. So verb plus ing. And again this noun. Okay, truth is a noun. Okay, so he understood the truth. Okay, he smiled knowing the truth. Then that becomes a knowing the truth, part of continuous tense. Okay, but instead of that we put the knowing the truth, he smiled. So in this format also we can. So in a present participle, the verb can be applied in these three fashions: as a adjective, as a part of continuous tense, and also as a adverbial modifiers. Then the past participle. In case of past participle, this is also same thing. It can be used as an adjective, then it can be used for a passive voice, perfect tense, and absolute phrase. In three cases we can use. So as an adjective, passive voice, perfect tense, and absolute phrase. Here, if you look at this one by one, when the past participle. So what is the past participle? V1, V2, V3. In some textbooks, generally they keep like this. Okay, V power 3, something like that. Okay, so otherwise, in some textbooks they will keep like this. V3. So there is no any change. Okay, the meaning is same. That's the third one. Okay, so what is the first one? First one is present. Second one is past. So third one is past participle. Okay, third one is past participle. So third one we are discussing here. We can take break, broke, broken. Then we can write go, went, gone, some irregular verb. Okay, this is a regular verb like this. Okay, so likewise you can use different examples. Okay, so a gone wind. A gone wind is the right word. Okay, a tired worker, a broken window. A broken window, here we are using a broken window. So a broken window is a past participle. A tired worker is a past participle. Okay, like so if you want to convert into passive voice, so in case when you are converting into passive voice, the work was done. So who is doing the work? So how is the work? The work was done. Okay, so here this becomes a, then because the do, did, done, this verb is do, did, done. Okay, then perfect tenses. In a perfect tenses, so she has written the book. Write, wrote, written. So now take this written. She has written the book. She has written the book. She has gone to the park. She has broken the glass. Okay, some example like perfect tenses. Okay. Now another one example here. So absolute phrases. So what do you mean by absolute phrases is phrases generally they actually, like we said, so they convey a different meanings. Okay, so joining of two words, where if you look at the two words individually, word 1 and word 2 separately, so they have a meaning, individual meanings. Okay, individual definitions. So individually they have one definition. Okay, and word 2 also we have something like that, you have a separate definition. Okay, so this definition is 1, we can call this definition 1. Okay, then we can call this one as a definition 2. Okay, so but when you are combining these two, okay, so then this becomes a word 3 or something, so you can call this as word 3. Then because of this one, so the definition also will change. So this is basically entirely to this definition, and they don't convey the same meaning what they are conveying. Okay, so words can be joined, but the definition will not join. Okay, so they have different meaning. Look at the points here. Okay, the work done, they left the office. Okay, so likewise so they left the office, so all this. Okay. Some example. Then the perfect participle, so perfect participle is also same thing. Okay, but here the only thing here is it does not comes under the classification, but that is a perfect participles here, having plus v3, having been plus v3. Okay, so look at having finished the homework, he went to bed. So finishing the homework. Okay, having done the homework, he went to bed. So having been warned, having, okay, then finished, so having been. Okay. So this is basically the verb v3 form. This is basically the verb v3 form. Okay, so no change. Yeah, use it. So where do we use it? So you have to use it to show that one action was completed before the another. So when there are two actions are there here, so this action first completed and then this action has been. Okay, so I would like to keep this in a color format so that you will be easily remembering it. So that's the best option. So here this is one thing. This is one sentence, and this is a one sentence. Okay, so some small differentiation that has been worked out here. Okay, no need also, normally also you can use it. Okay? So that is one point here. Okay, then coming to the basically the basic difference, okay, between gerund and participles. So what is the basic difference to identify? Okay, gerund and participle. Gerund means basically one simple thumb rule, that is take the verb, add ing. Okay, that's one thing. Whereas this you have present participle, okay, then past participle, then you have perfect participle. Okay, so that is also there. Then likewise. Okay, so that don't worry about that too much classification here. So participle means v3 form. That is a basic logic you remember. Okay, so gerund means take the verb, add ing. Participle means considered v3 form of a verb. Then this a function. As a function, this acts like a noun, this acts like an adjective. Okay, so gerund acts like a noun. Simple, very simple points. Okay, so first point is take the verb plus ing. So in this case, participle take directly the v3 form. Then what is this function? The gerund acts like a noun, whereas here the participles acts like an adjective. Second point. Okay, some example. Okay, so here the gerund will be used for both subject and object. Okay, fine. Whereas this participle is basically adjective. It's not used as an object here anything, but it will be used in front of object, in front of the object. Okay, we cannot call in front, we can call as a before noun or pronoun. So, okay, before noun and pronoun. Okay, so it basically modifies the noun or pronoun. So this is not going to modify because they itself is a noun. Okay, that's one point. Then looking at normally some important points for examination here. What are the common mistakes generally people do while facing the examination in this topic called as a participle and gerunds? Okay, look at here. First one, I enjoy swimming. I told her just before. So whenever there is a word, some certain set of words, enjoy. Here, you please note down some words here. That is like this. Okay, enjoy, mind, suggest, avoid, finish, consider, keep, admit, deny, risk, postpone, practice, etc. If these words generally usually come, at least minimum these words, you just try to remember for exam. Here, when you keep this point in mind, you will understand that here, that is for an enjoy, in front of that enjoy, you should not use a infinitive. Okay, because enjoy would not carry with the infinitive. Okay, so this is basically +2, you should not come. So that's the reason it's wrong one. So I enjoy swimming. Okay, after the word enjoy itself, because after the verb enjoy is going to come, try to directly apply for, go for an object. Okay, don't go for this adjective. Okay, because both are same. Okay, this to infinitive is basically, so what is, so you don't go for infinitive. That's one point here. Okay, the barking dogs was nicey. So that is also sentence, right? The dog barking was nicey. So here, this dog barking, here, this is a noun. This is also a noun. The barking, here also noun. Okay. So this barking dog, basically this noun 1 in the very first case, noun 1 and noun 2, they're together acting like a noun 1. Okay, so here this is basically gerund of a compound noun. Okay. So you can combine two nouns and still that becomes like a gerund. So gerund in the sense, so still that becomes a singular noun. So the barking dog is a simply a barking dog. It simply is a singular noun itself. Okay, whereas the dog barking now is not going to be like this. It becomes verb. This becomes ing. Okay, so this becomes a action. Okay, because the noun is already defined. So when the noun is already defined, a proper noun is already defined, and then verb is going to take this verb plus ing. So now what happens is this is basically has to be applied for some object here. So the very next sentence should come another noun. Okay, so subject, verb plus ing. So obviously the object should be followed here. Okay, so that is not what's done. Okay, the barking dog. Okay, so that's the reason what happened is here you need to have use this auxiliary verb. Okay, so this already known. So there are two nouns here, and then noun is there and another one also noun. So there is no any this noisy is also noise is basically, yeah, so it is basically adverb here, so it becomes a different case here. So but keep the point in mind. So this noun and this noun, so two nouns are conjugated, so there was no any verb here. So obviously this auxiliary verb should come into picture, so that to make a complete sentence here. Okay, so this is basically one point. Okay, so noisy is basically we have converted that into what we can call it as a adverb. Okay, but this is not the important point here. Some examples. Okay, some practice examples for competition exam here. So for example, identifying whether the ing is a gerund or participle. So remember, this is one. So they will not ask you that whether it is a gerund and participle or not. but for understanding purpose, just try to, okay. So if it is a gerund itself, they will act like the very first meaning, okay. So look at here, reading improves your mind. So directly we have taken a verb plus ing form, okay. So here the burning house, so you have taken a verb plus ing, okay. So this becomes a verb plus ing, then followed you have used a noun. So this is already a noun 1 and this is already noun 2, okay. So that's why this becomes a participle adjective. So this because already there is a noun house is there, and then before that you are using a verb plus ing. So this verb plus ing will act like a adjective here. Then likewise same thing, okay. So it can use it for a object also, okay. Paint plus ing, verb plus ing. So object of fruition. So here in is there here, like having studied hard she passed. So this becomes a perfect participle. Then I saw a man running, so this becomes a present participle, okay. A man running describes a man, and so on. Yeah, so on like this. You please try to do some examples on your own, some examples from the internet, and then try to solve. Coming to this point here, the total summary of this topic here. So this participle and gerund. So if it is a gerund, look at this one table here. This gives you a complete picture of what we have done, what we have done till now, okay. So here if it is a gerund, so the structure will be verb plus ing, which functions as a noun. Then for example here, reading is fun. Reading is fun, ing, okay. Now look at the other point here, that is a participles, okay. Participles can be 3 varieties, that is a present participle, past participle, and perfect participle. So present participle is a verb plus ing, okay. So it will act like a noun, like a barking dog. Then past participle here, third verb here, okay. So in a case of past participle, V3 format of a verb, so it can be act like a adjective or a verb, a broken chair, a shattered glass, something like that, okay. Then perfect participles, in perfect participles we should be caring about 2 things here. So you have to use in front of the V3 format, that is a past participle of a verb, you need to use having word in front of it, or else you need to use having been, okay. This also you have to use. So example here, because this act like a adjective class here, so look at here, having finished the work, he left. Okay. So adjective of a class means basically we are using a 2 sentences here, okay. There are 2 works done by the same subject. So having finished the work, who finished the work? One person, okay. So what he did, he left the place, okay. So he left, instead of saying after finishing the work he left, instead of saying that having finished the work means he completed the first sentence, means he completed the first task or the first verb action or first verb, then he did the second verb, okay. So he followed that. So like this this will count. Now looking at all the things in picture, okay, keeping all things in mind, if you look at this topic, that is participle and gerund. So the basic simple difference between the participle and gerund is the gerund acts like a noun, the participle acts like an adjective, okay. So what do you mean by noun? Noun is a name of a person, place, or a thing, okay. And whereas participle, whereas it acts like adjective. So what do you mean by adjective? Adjective is a word which qualifies a noun, okay. So participle qualifies a noun, whereas gerund itself acts like a noun, okay. So this is the meaning of this one. So participle and a gerund. So there is another one where the verb is there here, that is called as an infinitive. That infinitive means it acts like a noun, adjective, and adverb, but that is very easy to identify because for an infinitive we add 2 in between in the front, okay. So we usually take 2 and then write a verb, okay. So this is easy to identify. So that's the reason why we will discuss this topic in a separate class. But here most of the students usually confuse between the participle and gerund, because sometimes they'll be using even adding plus ing itself will act like a participle. So like this, some small differences will be there. So for that reason, I have used a separate lecture here for participle and gerund. So instead of participle separately, instead of gerund separately, I have combined both at one place, so that actually you will find a difference. Okay, and also I have discussed the differences in the very last slide. Okay, so even if you are unable to understand anything, even if you are unable to follow all the things, so at least make use of this last slide. So this last slide will give you the complacency of whatever the topic that we have discussed till now in this complete video. So the complete video is in one slide. Okay, so that concludes what I'm trying to say, the concept of the participle and gerund. I hope you understood this topic, the participle and gerund. Please do subscribe to this YouTube channel and press the like button and share for your friends, and then we'll meet again in the next video. Till then, bye.